I need another Sherman, guys. I need another Sherman. Because look at this rate. Maybe if you look after it, it will just keep going. And now I'm realizing what it is, guys. Because like I said, if you lose concentration for even a millisecond, maybe that's an exaggeration. Let's say 1/100th of a second, or even a 10th of a second, right? That's still pretty quick. So you can't mess up at all. You have to be perfect on the line every time, all the time, or else that's it, you're going down. Right? So how can you do that? How can we ride these things safely, right? If that's what it takes, if that's what it requires to stay on this thing, how can we do this? Well, the answer is... What's up, guys? This is going to be a chat in the park, and there's some pretty interesting stuff I talk about a bit later in the chat, like a few minutes into it. So make sure you get through like the first few minutes and then into like the meat of the conversation. Here we are in the park, and I just want to stop to mention something real quick. I've actually been cutting my own hair since like they banned haircuts around here. They've allowed them again now, but I kind of got used to it. Like I learned to cut my own hair, and you can kind of tell in this one. Well, I didn't learn, did I? I didn't learn much, but I've had like some good ones and some bad ones, and like this was a bad one. But it's pretty stupid, isn't it, to ban haircuts? You know, ban gyms as well. You can't go to the gym. You can go to Hungry Gyms, Hungry Jack's, Billy Jack's Bottle Shop, Burger Kings, all that, but you can't go to the gym. And I got the Sherman just here. And I'm going to finally show you something, guys. I'm finally going to show you something. Look. Look, press that button there. So what's wrong with this picture there? Can you see something wrong with this picture? Look, I'll do it again. This is total 2,137 kilometers already. How long have I had this thing on the road for? Remember, I only got it back, I don't know, like, I'll interject, like in editing, I'll put it in, I'll tell you exactly how long I've been riding it for. Because remember, I made the video when I got it back. And I've already done 2,200 kilometers. It's insane. Right? It's insane. This 3,200 watt hours is nothing to be sneezed at, guys. This thing is a beast when it comes to range. It just keeps going and going forever. It's crazy. It's got so much range. And you might be thinking, so why the hell am I charging it, right? Why am I here with my brick? Well, the reason is, guys, I'm a fiend. Oh, where are you going? Where the freaking are you? Guys, I'm a fiend when it comes to this thing. It's like a drug. It's like I'm addicted to this thing. I can't stop riding it. Like, even when I get bored of it, like sometimes I'll go for a ride and I'll be like, oh, this is feeling boring. Like, I'm bored of this thing. Literally 20 minutes later, I'm like having the time of my life again. You know, it's like, it's crazy how it works. It's insane, guys. And I've got some stuff to talk about now too. Like, something interesting about something I said I would talk about when I made my video like a few weeks ago. I said I was going to talk about learning to ride these things, because I went through the process of learning again, kind of like I went 4 months without riding. Sorry if I'm repeating this for you guys that already know, but I went 4 months without riding, and I forgot how to ride, guys. And this is my smartwatch, by the way. I'm going to talk about this thing because this is awesome. And there's another one, there's like a cheaper one that's actually better, and I'll talk about that later, but I forgot how to ride, guys, and then I had to learn again. And if you look back at my video, like, it's called Hitting the Street with a Sherman, something like that. It's when I first rode after that 4-month break, and it felt dodgy as hell, like I'd forgotten, I lost my feel, and I hadn't. Well, I'll go back a bit, go back to the unboxing video. Remember when I first stepped on that pedal in my garage, like I wasn't even on the street, I had an accident, or not an accident, I just fell off straight away at like 1 mile an hour in my shed. Within 1 foot, like I stepped foot on it and bang, I fell off straight away. And I was like, what? Are you serious? Like, I've lost it. I couldn't believe it. But then I was sure it would come back, you know. I was like, you can't forget this, right? And then the next day I went for an actual ride, and that's the episode called Hitting the Street with a Sherman, or something around those lines, something along those lines. And I tell her no lie. And I had an accident within 100 meters of my house, literally. 100 meters, that's like 300 feet. Down the road a bit, on the footpath, I friggin' fell off at 5 miles an hour. And I was like, are you serious? How did that even happen? I just couldn't comprehend it, because when I think back to like when I was riding, you know, like every day, I felt like I couldn't fall off this thing, right? It was like impossible. And then after that break, after losing, you know, my skills, it was like impossible to stay on the thing, right? The opposite. And it's making sense now that I analyze it, mostly due to the dynamics of these things, right? Like, these things are like, well, it's only got one wheel, doesn't it, right? It's got one wheel, so your legs have to do everything. Your legs act as the handlebar, the steering column, the damper, right? Everything. And the suspension, your knees, after you bend your knees to absorb all the shocks, right? Unless you've got a suspension wheel, but even if you do, you still got to use your knees. You can't just stand there like a zombie. And because you have to do so many things, right? There's a lot of skill involved. I mean, there's a lot of consistency. That's the word I'm looking for. It's like, if you mess up for even one millisecond, you're down. You're on the ground within half a second, right? Before you even know it, you're smacked down. Just because you had that one little lapse, right? Because think about it again. Like I mentioned this already, but look, when you ride these things, right, you have to have perfect balance on each side, on either pedal, right? Like as a beginner, you have to basically have even pressure on both sides, or else you're going to tip to one side, right? Unless you're like leaning into a corner, then you like do that on purpose. But as you get better, then you can ride one-legged, can't you? So you don't have to have even pressure anymore. You can have no pressure on one side and you can still balance the thing, because you can use the inside of your leg to apply torque on the wheel, right? To counteract the imbalance, right? And there's just so much involved that it's not like riding a bicycle. You know, you ride a bike and then you don't ride for 20 years even, and then you can get straight back on it and you just ride it, no problem. It's not like that with this. And now I'm realizing what it is, guys. Because like I said, if you lose concentration for even a millisecond, maybe that's an exaggeration, let's say 1/100th of a second, or even a 10th of a second, right? That's still pretty quick. So you can't mess up at all. You have to be perfect on the line every time, all the time, or else that's it, you're going down. Right? So how can you do that? How can we ride these things safely, right? If that's what it takes, if that's what it requires to stay on this thing, how can we do this? Well, the answer is it happens automatically. You don't even think about it, right? When I forgot how to ride, then I realized when I'm trying to ride again, I'm thinking about everything. I'm like, all right, I got to do this and this and this, react to this and that, right? Every single bump and curve and contour in the ground, you know, you're constantly making these fine adjustments at high speed, right? And if you don't make the right adjustment, or you make the wrong adjustment at the wrong time, or you make too much of an adjustment, right? Too much pressure on one side, all of a sudden, and you go down, right? So it's unfeasible to think you're gonna be concentrating on that the whole time and not go down, right? So it has to be automatic. It's in the brain. It's like a what do you call it? Kind of like instinct, but like a twitch reflex, maybe something like that, where you don't think about it anymore and it just happens and it doesn't fail. It's like flawless. Somehow your brain just does that, right? And that's what I'm finding now. Now I've been, well, like I said, I've done how many miles, right? I've done, like I said, 2,200. Oh no, that's the total. 2,137. So that's like 1,500 miles, maybe 1,400 miles, something like that. And after all those miles, I'm back, baby. I'm back in the game. Just like I left. All the same. No longer feeling lame on this thing. And I can just go. I'm not worried. And one thing, this is interesting. One thing I thought back, you know, when I got back on the wheel and then fell off straight away, I was thinking, man, I'm not going to want to ride this thing at speed, right? If I fell off at 5 miles an hour, then I'd be stupid to try and go fast on this, right? Because I could just fall off at any moment, at any speed. But now it's like speed is your friend. That's how it feels. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't need the speed, but the faster I'm going, the more stable I feel, right? Especially on loose terrain, like soft sand, right? If you try and ride slowly through that, you just dig in and you're down, like in my last video, right? If you enter that at speed, you can glide straight through like a surfboard going through water. And the speed holds you steady, right? And it's the same on concrete. Like, the speed gives you more stability. It's like the gyroscopic force, or whatever it's called, the gyroscopic inertia. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like when you've got a wheel that's rotating, it has momentum and it resists changes in angular position. And the faster the wheel's going and the heavier the wheel is, the more momentum it has. Angular momentum. And that resists changes in motion. Like if you get a bicycle and spin up the tire and then try to twist it, you're going to find that it's very hard to twist, like it's trying to resist you. And that's how it works with an EUC as well. Obviously it's just one wheel, but it's the same principle. And man, I feel safe. I feel super safe on this thing. Like, there's no way I can fall. Now that I've clicked again, it's like switching a switch in your brain. You know, it's just like click on, click off, right? When I forgot how to ride, it was off. It was just gone. I had to think about everything. And it's just too slow to do it that way. It has to be an autopilot. Once you click that on again, it's just, the world is your oyster. You just go anywhere. Like, you don't have to think about it. You go any speed or any terrain almost. I mean, of course, you got to be careful still, but it's just like night and day. You know, the difference in safety and just the way it feels. It's like such a contrast. It's hard to explain even. Like, man, and this thing feels just amazing. Like when I'm cornering at speed now, it's like, I think I'm getting better than I was before, like I've learned something new, I've gained a new perspective from like taking a break perhaps. And oh man, it just feels like I'm limited by these pedals. That's the only annoying thing. These pedals are so low that when you try and lean into a corner hard, you always scrape, right? It's always scraping. I mean, it's hard not to scrape these things. And one thing I'm enjoying now is taking fast corners on the road, like on a grippy road, and just leaning hard like a motorbike. And it's so fun. Like I didn't have that feel before. You know, like I could do it, but I wasn't feeling it like I'm feeling it now, because now I've seen that new perspective, right? It's like, it's crazy, guys. I just find it crazy because this thing could be so dangerous, but it just becomes so safe once you click, you know, once you make that connection in your brain. I find it mind-blowing, guys. And that's what it makes me, it kind of makes me realize why people think the way they think when they see these things, because they've never ridden one. So all they see is one wheel instability. Like even if you don't understand physics, you inherently know, or you intuitively know, when you see one wheel just, you know, by itself, is very unstable, right? It's got so many ways of messing up, right? And they see us just cruising like a motorbike, like a dude on a dirt bike, just taking corners and decelerating so hard. You know, when we lean back, it's just like, woof, like, it's crazy, guys. And they see this thing and they don't understand any of the stuff I just explained. All they see is one wheel. It's just like magic, right? How does it maneuver like that if it's just one wheel? It maneuvers better than a bike. I mean, especially at low speed, we can just go and just whip around and just be going in the other direction so quickly. It's like, it's crazy. I love these things. I freaking love these things, guys. Like I said, it's like a drug. And I don't know when, like, I'm hooked on this thing. I need another Sherman, guys. I need another Sherman. Because look, at this rate, I'm gonna have like 50,000 miles on this thing in no time. Hopefully they can do it though. Maybe if you look after it, it will just keep going. Who knows, guys? But it kind of worries me when I just see those miles going up so quickly. I'm like, oh, you know, can I keep riding so intensively, you know? Maybe I should start riding less. And I don't want to. I'm addicted to this thing. But it brings me to one final thing I want to talk about is exercise. Actually, no, I won't talk about that now because it's getting a bit long. I'm going to leave that for its own video. But it's super important to do exercise if you ride a lot like I do, right? If you're addicted to your machine, you got to make sure you get exercise, and there's very good reasons why, guys. These things are good exercise, don't get me wrong, especially when you're practicing drills like balancing and stuff. But they exercise a certain group of muscles, don't they? Right? When, you know, like, we get very strong in a certain group of muscles by riding these things. Think about it. When you first get on, I don't know if you've ever ridden a Sherman or, you know, a very heavy EUC. But when you first get on them, on a heavy one like that, it just feels like a pile of bricks. Like it's just, so it just feels heavy, you know? And then after like 500 miles, you train those muscles or whatever it is, and then it feels like nothing. It feels like a feather. Literally, it's like it's not even there anymore. It's kind of crazy. It blows my mind even. But I went through it all over again. Like when I first got my Sherman, it felt super heavy. Then it went light again. Like it became light. Then I didn't ride for 4 months. Rode it, my 60X for a little while until that broke. I think, no, then the 4 months came after that. But yeah, then I rode my Sherman again finally. and it felt heavy all over again. 4 weeks later, it's light again. And so we're training certain muscles quite intensively, but we're not training others, are we? We're leaving the other ones that we would normally train by, you know, just walking even, running. You're leaving all those for dead, basically. So it's very important you keep getting exercise. Otherwise, you're going to lose certain muscle groups. You know, there's no two ways about it, really. But anyway, let's end the conversation now. We're going to go to the beach, and I'm going to try and get some footage before the sun goes down. Look, sun's up, going down that way. I reckon we've only got a couple of hours left. Probably left it a bit late. We'll see what we can do. But we're going to get the Sherman off charge here. Look, let's see. Let's do this thing, right? Look, I'm going to hold the button that I need to hold to see how much voltage is in the Sherman. Look how long this takes. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Finally done. Look, 100.8. So we're fully charged. How ridiculous is that holding duration? What were they thinking? It's like freaking 38 freaking weeks. It's insane. It takes so long to hold that thing that you'd get half a charge into this thing by the time you actually check your charge. It's freaking insane. But anyway, let's go to the beach. That's gonna be it, guys. I'm gonna head to the beach after this. Well, that's what I did on that day, but I won't like include it all in this video. It's gonna get too long. But I'll have a beach video coming up soon anyway. Lots of my recent ones have been at the beach. And right here, I just kind of left the camera running by accident as I was packing up. So I guess I'll just leave this rolling until the video ends. Alright guys, I'll see you next time. Oh,